Welcome to Caring for You, Mind, Body, and Soul. This is Lesson 1, Starting with You, Person-Centered Caregiving.
Caregiving involves mind, body, and soul. And there are things you can learn to help you through this experience and enhance your overall well-being, as well as with the person with dementia that you're caring for. It starts with you, a caregiver. Now, I'm Janice, and I was a caregiver for 10 years for my mom who had Alzheimer's disease. Now, I learned a lot from those years, and now I lead a support group for caregivers of people with different types of dementia. Each person in our group has their own story, just like you have yours. Even with all these different situations, we have learned an approach to caregiving that helps each of us in our own situations. It's called a person-centered approach. Each situation is unique. Each person with dementia is unique, and each person's symptoms might show differently depending on their individual characteristics, their type of dementia, and where they are in their experience with dementia. And each of you as a caregiver is unique too.
Person-centered caregiving goes beyond a focus on tasks to a focus on the person being cared for and the caregiver, what is important to each of you, and how to get there. Person-centered caregiving gives you a compass to guide you through the uniqueness of each person and situation. Person-centered caregiving includes knowledge, humility, trust, courage, adaptation, honesty, patience, and hope. Meet members of our caregiver support group who will share their hard-earned wisdom and experiences about how person-centered caregiving has guided them. Let's start with building knowledge about dementia and caregiving overall. As you learn more, both about caring for a person with dementia as well as caring for you, you will be better equipped for this caregiving journey.
When Ed got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I didn't know anything about it. The doctor told us a few things, and luckily we found this support group, but I found out that I had to learn more about Alzheimer's so that I could understand how it was affecting Ed. I remember going to a workshop and the speaker talked about how it didn't work to argue with a person with dementia, that they were seeing things one way and I was seeing things another way, and that it wasn't helping anyone for me to try to get Ed to see things my way. That was big for me. It made things easier when I stopped arguing and I learned to go with the flow.
Having humility and that caregiving is an ongoing experience of trying new things, sometimes failing, learning from those experiences, and trying again.
I remember at first it seemed like my mother-in-law was trying to drive me crazy. I really thought she was trying to make things hard for me. I would tell her she needed to take a shower, and she would say no. And I would tell her she had to, and she would just get so angry at me. I mean, come on, Mom, just take a shower. But then I had this aha that maybe it wasn't, it was the way I was approaching her that wasn't working, that I had to find another way. And we tried lots of ways, trust me, until I found a way that worked for both of us.
Recognizing that caregiving is about adaptation and change. As the person with dementia changes, and maybe your relationship changes, it's trying to adapt to the new reality.
I was in such an angry place. I felt like I had been robbed of my wife. But then one night we were watching some silly show and she just threw her head back and laughed. And then she looked at me in that way she always had and took my hand. I teared up, you know. It was still her. And then she told me that I was such a good date. I just laughed with her.
Being honest about yourself and the person with dementia. Accepting what you can and can't do, and accepting where the person with dementia is in the moment.
at first I had this idea that, I could do everything. All the doctor's appointments and the therapies and the medications, helping him get dressed, even helping him bathe. And then one day I almost fell over with him, helping him out of the shower. I just physically couldn't do it anymore. I mean, it was the hardest decision I ever had to make, to put Dad in that assisted living community. But I had to be honest, it just wasn't going well for me. Or for him, living the way that we were.
Building trust in your relationship with a person with dementia by seeing their perspective and what is important to them, as well as what is important to you.
Ed kept telling me that it was time for him to go to work. He stopped working years ago. And at first, I kept trying to get the truth through to him, that he was retired, that he didn't work anymore. Well, that didn't work. He got really angry. And then I told him the office closed and that he couldn't work there anymore. And that was really upsetting to him. I came in here right after that, and I was in a state. And then Steph said that maybe Ed needed something to do, something to give him, a sense of purpose. I had never looked at it from his point of view. And also, I think he could tell when I was lying to him. So I found jobs for him to do at home, and I asked him about his work. And then I just listened, and I told him how proud I was of him and how I needed for my own sanity to stop the daily shouting match. So I found a way for him to have a role, and then to give him back a little bit of what he lost.
Practicing patience for yourself and for the person with dementia.
I used to think that I had a lot of patience, but after my dad asked me the same question about when we were having lunch for the 18th time, I thought I was going to lose it. I just kept losing my patience with him. So I thought if I could keep him from asking when was lunch 50 million times, that, it would help a little. So I wrote on the chalkboard in the kitchen, lunch is at 12. And it actually worked for a while. And then he stopped looking at the chalkboard, and it was back to asking me all morning, when was lunch going to be? And then I realized he probably was just bored. And I certainly wasn't getting anything done with him following me around all morning, asking me the same question over and over again. So we started walking in the morning, before lunch. And I found out when he's walking, he stops asking questions. And it was nice for me too, to get out and get some air. That's important.
Recognizing the courage in being a caregiver and the opportunity to build confidence and resilience as you continue to learn and grow.
I was somewhat of a reluctant caregiver, as you know. The kids are home, and taking care of my mother-in-law meant that I had to stop working. It is not easy. But I watched my daughter read to Grandma a couple of nights ago, and I thought, things are still good. And the more I learn about my mother-in-law's Alzheimer's, the better I feel about how to help her. I feel stronger now, kind of like a superhero. My husband gave me a Wonder Woman t-shirt for Mother's Day.
Keeping hope for you and the person with dementia, and seeing the possibilities that you both can live well.
When it first happened, I thought, well, I guess no more spur-of-the-moment trips. I guess this is it. But our friends really encouraged us. They helped me to see that things weren't the same, but we could still do things. We could still take trips, but we did them in a different way so that Layla could handle them better and enjoy herself more. It was not the way I thought we would be, but it was the new normal, and we had to adapt to that. It gave me hope that we could still have a future, a good future. Life isn't over.
In order to care for another person, you have to care for yourself. You have to make sure that you are okay before you can help someone else. Put on your oxygen mask first so you can breathe. Now, these person-centered approaches can help you breathe and help you care for you, your mind, body, and spirit, so both you and the person with dementia that you're caring for can have greater well-being. You're not alone in your experience of caregiving, and you can benefit from the hard-earned wisdom of other caregivers, as well as professionals who can support you and the person you care for.
Congratulations on completing Lesson 1 and taking a step to care for yourself. As you look for opportunities to apply what you've learned, consider trying one of these micro steps. Seek more information on self-care and/or dementia. Practice seeing caregiving as a process of adaptation and change. Keep trying different caregiving approaches. Try to see the perspective of the person with dementia to meet both of your needs. Or come up with your own micro step. Each step moves you forward to caring for you.